Chairman Rogers, I appreciate your time and this opportunity to address you. As I did last year, I'm here again to advocate for Selfridge Air National Guard Base. Selfridge is home to the 127th Wing, houses the A-10s and the KC-135 tankers, with both missions being divested in 2027 and 2029, respectively. We welcome a new KC-46 Alpha mission that will come in a few years, but Selfridge is a fighter base. It has been for over a century. Selfridge, the jewel of southeast Michigan, is located next to Lake St. Clair and in the Great Lakes region, a northern border that provides critical security not just to the United States, but our allies to the north. It is most critical that the assets, our most critical assets, the men and women on the ground, are protected. This great wing includes 6 weapons school graduates, Top Gun equivalent for the Air Force, and many other pilots, maintainers, and hundreds of jobs in the area, on the base, and in the region that would be lost if we do not replace our fighter mission. These are things that are difficult to come by, yet despite the Michigan's delegation's best efforts to secure a future fighter mission for Selfridge, it has eluded us. Through the work of our governor, our senators, our House members, and our community, we are confident that we can welcome an F-15EX mission or an F-35 mission to Southeast Michigan. For a state that has lost 3 fighter missions in as many decades, for a state that feels left behind and disinvested, and for a state that has outsized capacity and ability to fight and win our nation's wars. Along with fighters, Selfridge is a prime location to host future armed reconnaissance platforms. I personally can account for that as a former Apache pilot myself. Following the Army's cancellation of the FARA program, I hope that the Army considers stationing manned attack aircraft in the form of Apache 64 Echo models of the Army National Guard of Michigan. My hope is that in this NDAA, we can help the Army consider a future attack aircraft mission, because we formerly had Cobras before 9/11 in Michigan. Again, Michigan is an outsized and has an outsized role in defense of this nation, and we have a legacy of attack and fighter missions. What we've done so far was advocated for fleet leveling, the process in which the Air Force would temporarily recapitalize its fighters like the A-10. Unfortunately, this idea has received significant pushback from the Air Force, leaving us with little other options but to seek action in this NDAA. We've advocated for increasing capacity for advanced fighter production. I'm concerned that the Air Force is canceling the F-15EX production starting next year, when this is the only other platform available to Joint Strike Fighter. Our governor and I don't always agree, but what we do agree about is the importance of Selfridge. She has worked well with our state legislature and our delegation, and has transmitted significant investment in Selfridge in order to enable us to bring a fighter mission to Selfridge. As this committee formulates the FY25 NDAA, it is critical that Congress enact a fighter recapitalization policy that will maintain 25 for 25 fighter wings across the National Guard to include Selfridge. Congress has a vital role to ensure that our total force maintains its critical strategic assets to remain competitive with China and future pacing threats. Lastly, as the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa, I want to advocate for supporting the critical mission that AFRICOM is doing on the continent by requesting funding for Somalia Persistent Presence, High-Risk ISR, Enterprise C2 Resiliency, and Commercial Satellite Communications. Along with these priorities, I hope the committee considers supporting AFRICOM's objectives with the Combined Joint Interagency Coordination Group, West Africa. These priorities will help stem the threats coming from Russia and China and terrorist organizations like al-Shabaab. We are seeing China considering building a naval base in West Africa, which presents a direct threat to the United States given its strategic location in the Atlantic. I would appreciate your feedback, Mr. Chairman, and I hope your team can connect with mine on these critical matters to Michigan and to our nation.